Officially retired?
No, she just came back this week. She said to
Angie asked me to come and do a short presentation, and I asked her what she wanted me to talk about because I do a variety of these presentations, a variety of topics, and she said, just bring it all. So I brought some of it. And then I invited Kathy because Kathy works on the cessation piece, and I know that that was a big deal for all the Worksite wellness participants to make sure they had the information to get to their employers about what was available in the area for cessation, and that's Kathy's thing. So I have some e-cigarette stuff, I have some alternative smoking products, I have some cigarillos and some liquid nicotine, and I'm really just not sure what you want me to talk about, what you want to know. I know Claudia was very interested in taking pictures of.
I did. I walked around and took some pictures because I haven't seen all this paraphernalia before.
So everything I have on the table, all these tobacco products, and as I talk about them, I'll hand them out so you can look at them. I'll pass them around. These are all legal products that can be bought in Massachusetts. Right now, the state is looking at going to raise the minimum age to purchase to 21. In the meantime, cities and towns are doing it on their own, and we have well over 100 now. Communities that have raised their age from 18 to either 19 or 21. And we're hoping that during this legislative session, the bill is signed, new tobacco state law, which will include e-cigarettes. And there are a lot of different components to that weren't in the original state law. It would raise the age to 21. It would ban tobacco sales in pharmacies statewide, and it would be in vending machines statewide. I think it would be in blunt wraps statewide. I'm not sure what else. Yeah. They didn't touch the flavor restrictions or the cigar packaging restrictions that we've been pushing throughout the state, and the flavor restriction has really taken off. A lot of communities are interested in doing that because all of these products I have on the table are flavored, and they're all marketed to kids, although the tobacco industry says they are not marketed to kids. We have blunt wraps in chocolate and vanilla flavored. This one is mango. There's a cognac one, and all of the small cigars, these cigarillos, are all flavored as well. They're small cigars. They're called cigarillos. They come in fruit, candy, and alcoholic beverage flavors. You can get them sometimes 2 for $1, 69 cents. A year ago, 2 years ago, when we took kids to the Steakhouse on Kick Butts Day, their slogan was that tobacco products should not be cheaper than chips. Because all of these products that I'm going to show you pretty much are less than a snack in a vending machine. And although they're supposed to be 18 to purchase, our rates of sales are skyrocketing. Fall River is number 5 in the state for illegal sales to minors. Taunton is number 6. I don't know where New Bedford lies because New Bedford has no tobacco control. They don't have a funded through the state tobacco control program. And as far as I know, they don't do any compliance checks at all through the health department. So the only statistics we would have would be from the FDA, because the FDA also does compliance checks with kids.
Does that, like, spice, does this fall under the
No, that is synthetic marijuana, spice, K2, Scooby Snacks. Those are all synthetic marijuana products. And Those have been banned to some extent federally, but only federal law enforcement agencies can enforce federal law, so it would have to be the DEA or the FBI. Your local police departments can't enforce that. New Bedford does have a synthetic drug ordinance that they don't enforce. They also have a drug paraphernalia ordinance that they don't enforce. So you can go into pretty much any convenience store, gas station in New Bedford and buy synthetic marijuana still right on the counter, available for sale. So you've got the cigarillos. I'm going to, this is my favorite nicotine delivery system. This is called Nico Gel, and it's marketed as a cigarette alternative, and it's cigarette satisfaction in a hand gel. So it's nicotine based, and you open it like you would a hand sanitizer, and you rub it on your skin, and you absorb the nicotine through your skin. And it's marketed.
Can we try it? No, I'm just kidding.
Absolutely. You'd like?
So this, if someone's trying to quit smoking, would they use this? Is this what this is for, or is it just
No,
a
it's to
fix?
use. It's to use if you're someplace you can't smoke.
Okay, so
And
we
you
have
just
no
can't.
smoking in the building
Right.
or on site, but they would use this
They could.
to get a,
Or on an airplane, or in a movie theater, or at a restaurant. You can buy that. That's a package of 10, and I think the price tag on it is $249. That's how much it was when I first bought it. You can also buy the little packets that look like wet ones. They look like candy wipes. Individually, in one of those big fishbowl-like things that they sell rolling papers and penny fireballs. You can buy those big plastic containers, and they sell them there out of a container like that for 50 cents a piece. And that is primarily a 7-Eleven product. It's the only place I've ever seen that is at a 7-Eleven. And e-cigarettes. So
What are the implications of using that? I mean, what's that?
well, you absorb the nicotine through your skin. So it would be just like you'd get the same effect, I would imagine, as smoking.
So since it's not going into your lungs, though, what are the medical?
I don't know, but my concern would be more that somebody uses this, and in a short period of time, since they've used it, just like hand sanitizer, they're going to shake your hand, and what is the transfer? Or they're going to pick up their baby, and what is the transfer skin to skin? And I don't know what that is, but that, I would think that would be concerning to a lot of people. So e-cigarettes now, a lot of communities are including them in their tobacco regulations. So they're treated just like tobacco products. So no sales to minors. The Attorney General's office just did a state law in September. No sales to minors, no self-service displays, just like tobacco products. And I can tell you that our rates of sales for e-cigarette products have gone through the roof, much higher than our sales for tobacco products to kids. And in the first 2 years of them coming on the scene with these e-cigarette products, the sales rate nationally increased over 500%. So they come in different ways, and I'll pass this around. This one is mocha latte flavored. You can probably pick this up. Imperial Hookah you can get pretty much anywhere for $7.99, and it tells you that there are 6 milligrams of nicotine in this one disposable. Kids call them vape pens. So they don't look like cigarettes. So we're finding more and more people are using them, and more kids are using them in the high school during school, because nobody's paying attention. The teachers aren't looking. It looks like you're chewing on the end of your pen, and it's actually a cigarette.
How many milligrams of nicotine are in one cigarette?
In one?
Yeah, like I'm trying to figure out what the concentration is in one of these compared to like
Well-
a pack of cigarettes.
So each disposable e-cigarette, this one says 800, up to 800 puffs. And I think the 200 puff ones are a pack of cigarettes. So this is supposed to last
So
longer.
4 packs, yeah.
This is what, the problem is, these are not regulated by the FDA. And there's no quality control. And even the ones that say zero nicotine have been tested and have nicotine in them because there's nobody to check. They're all fruit and candy flavored for the most part. These high-tech ones were maybe $10. So if you're buying a pack of cigarettes, the problem is if you're buying a pack of cigarettes, you know how much you're smoking because as you smoke them, they disappear. With these, you don't know how much you're smoking until you go to inhale and there's no flavor, there's no kick from the nicotine.
And because it's
So
not
does-
regulated, you don't know that the labeling is true.
Right.
Does smoke come out of?
It's not smoke.
It's
not
vapor.
It's vapor, and you can tell the difference just driving down the street between somebody who's sitting in their car smoking an e-cigarette and a regular cigarette because the vapor is voluminous. I mean, it takes up the whole car. It's white, and there's a lot more vapor in an exhale than there is in tobacco when you're doing tobacco. So the Institute of Medicine last year, their report indicates that just like there is no safe level of secondhand smoke, there is no safe level of secondhand vapor, which is why boards of health have gone forward and included them in their tobacco regulations. And then the Attorney General's office came up with their own restriction. The liquid nicotine that goes in the reusable e-cigarettes is all fruit and candy flavored. This one I bring everywhere with me is pina colada flavored.
I'm sorry, I have
That's
one more
okay,
question
go
about
ahead.
what you just said because I just bought a car and my husband and I were at the car dealer and there were 2 people in their cubicles vaping, is that the word?
Yep.
And I'm wondering, is there anything that regulators are dealing with as far as public spaces with people being allowed to
Right
do that
now.
if they don't know the...
Right now, the Attorney General's regulation does not address use of e-cigarettes. So it's up to your community's Board of Health to, when they include it in their regulation, that it's to be treated like cigarettes for sales to minors, product placement, that they also include use. So in this area, in Westport, you cannot use them anyway, you can't smoke a cigarette. That's part of their regulations. Westport, not Fall River, we don't have that.
Dartmouth?
I'm not sure, I don't cover Dartmouth, is it? Probably not,
I'm not sure about that.
probably
I
not.
could check on that, but I'm not sure.
Taunton, Attleboro, North Attleboro, Somerset and Swansea. A lot of communities, even small communities like Berkeley and Dayton, they have regulations that you cannot smoke, you cannot use your e-cigarette anywhere the workplace smoking law is in effect. The communities that don't have it, when people call me from restaurants in Fall River and they want to know why we don't have it, and I just tell them to call the city council, because in Fall River, our tobacco law is city ordinance, not board of health regulation, and we're one of maybe 3 in the state that have that as a city ordinance. So businesses can enact their own policies on e-cigarette use. But I don't think in Bedford, I don't think they have that in New Bedford either, do they? The e-cigarette,
I think they might actually,
do they?
yeah.
Yeah, I don't cover New Bedford either. So the e-liquid I just passed around goes in a larger than a disposable e-cigarette. And when I bought this VaporX starter kit, it says right on the back, VaporX is proud to present to you the best personal electronic vaporizers designed to work with all of your alternative smoking needs. So So there's more can be put in this little vaporizer than that liquid. And people are using the vaporizers and the Atmos vaporizers and the atomizers to smoke on it. And because it's not burned, it's only heated with battery, it doesn't smell the same as somebody smoking a joint. So when I do presentations like this to high school nurses or PE teachers, one of the things I tell them is when you're teaching computer class, you've got to make sure that the kids that are using USB ports are not just charging their telephone or because you can charge this in your computer. It has its own USB. It comes with a USB. You can also purchase a car charger to charge them, to charge your vaporizer. So that was about $25 when I purchased it. You can get them for much cheaper. You can also get them for much more money there if you go to a vape shop where that's all they sell is liquid and accessories. You can spend up to $100 on a whole unit. It's very, very disturbing.
Can I ask so in the beginning, these vape cigarettes were an alternative to smoking a cigarette, which is full of much more than nicotine.
Mm-hmm.
So what are the health, other than nicotine being addictive, what are the other health hazards that go along with this?
With vaping?
Yes.
Well, they haven't been around that long. It's only been a few years. Do you know what the statistics are for vape? People who go, they're not regulated.
Okay.
E-cigarettes are not regulated, so we don't know what's in them other than the liquid nicotine and the flavoring.
I've seen studies that have said there's a lot more formaldehyde in these than in cigarettes. There's a lot of like metals being heated and different kind of chemicals, so it's not, because it's so early in the grand scheme of them being around and because the FDA hasn't moved on them yet, we don't have as much conclusive data as we'd like, but they do have a lot of like other chemicals that you might not see as much of in a cigarette, like formaldehyde or metals. Like
That's what I was wondering. If I think some people convince themselves that this is better than smoking a cigarette, but I
Because
have a
that's how they're
feeling-
marketed, though.
Right.
They're marketed as cessation tools, which is completely false. On the back of this one, this had on the back of most of them, if they're sold in California, they have to have this warning. And I believe California is the only state that makes them put this warning on e-cigarettes. And it says, this product contains nicotine, a chemical known to the state of California to cause birth defects and other reproductive harm. So in this one e-cigarette tells you it's equivalent to 2 packs.
This is its own electronic device, so how are these disposed of? I'm going to assume people just throw them in the trash.
People just throw them in the trash. So several years ago, when they first came around, DEP was making some noise about how they were going to get in on the regulations because most people don't know what the proper disposal is of batteries to begin with. And now every one of these disposable things has a battery, every single one, and it goes right in the trash. All disposable. We have some that look like cigarettes. I've got some that don't look like cigarettes. This one is green apple flavored. And in my opinion, this one is watermelon heaven. In my opinion, these are solely marketed to kids.
So wouldn't it be like an easy grant for a city or town that had an ordinance to ask for, I'm thinking like a sharp box, like if you know people are using it, like a disposal box for them.
Right.
In certain areas or something.
You
or
just
whatever.
open
Yeah,
up
so you
your
can
car
treat it.
door and dump the ashtray. Same thing with, people
Yeah.
have been like not, aside from the environment, people haven't been very responsible about
Right.
disposing of cigarette butts
Yeah.
forever.
Right.
And I can't imagine that they would
Yeah.
No,
go
I'm
through any
thinking of
extra
like those
step to.
stands outside of a bar that you see where people are
Put
Yeah,
supposed
so
to
they could all be
throw.
collected and disposed of
Right,
in a
right,
different
like having
manner.
some sort of
Yeah.
like just drop it here.
Do you think
Which,
people
when you
would
see,
go?
well, I was about to say, you see all the butts around those ashtrays that
Right.
people are supposed to use, so.
Yeah, how many, and we've had experience at Government Center where people have put their trash in that, candy wrappers, gum wrappers, and then somebody throws a lit cigarette in there and then the thing's on fire. That's happened, so. So the only other thing I want to show you, and then Kathy can do her part, because I could sit here all day and talk to you about this stuff all day. Snus. Snus was designed as an alternative to chewing tobacco. And the difference between the chewing tobacco and snus, and now the chewing tobacco comes like this as well, is it comes in these little tea bag type pouches. When Camel Snus first came on the market, it was advertised as sold cold, and each one of the stores had a little tiny refrigerator case built into their tobacco racks. It was like a big deal. So that, and it was plugged in, and it was like a small refrigerator thing. And they marketed this Camel product as Camel Snus sold cold. And we found out through doing some research that one of the reasons they kept it cold was because once you take it out of the refrigerator and you've got it in your bag or in your car and it's no longer cold, the heat activates the cancer-causing agents in the product. So, similar to chewing tobacco or dip, you would take the pouch and put it in your lip, and you always know when somebody's using dip or chewing tobacco because they've got a bottle of water or empty soda can and they're spitting into it. With the snus products, you swallow all that. You don't spit. It interacts with the saliva, you get the flavor, whatever, and then you swallow it all. So when people are using chewing tobacco and dip, they're putting themselves at risk for oral cancer, cancer of the esophagus sometimes. With this, the more you use, it goes through your body just like food would, because you're not spitting anything out, you're swallowing it all. So increased rates of cancer of the esophagus, cancer of the stomach, colon, bladder, all on the rise from the snus products. And now everybody makes a snus. Marlboro had them when they first came out, they were in boxes, they were flat boxes that couldn't get the cover up.
I don't want to.
That resembled packs of cigarettes, and now, and they weren't selling. They weren't able to sell them. So they changed their marketing so that this is a skull snus. It's not open. They changed the marketing, so now the Marlboro snus comes in a tin. So it identifies more with the chewing tobacco crowd. Does anybody have any questions about mine?
There was like a news item, I don't know if anyone heard it.
This
that-
week?
Yeah, about the kids who got a hold of the nicotine juice and
Yes.
drank it.
Yes.
On a school bus.
On a school
Going
bus.
to school
In Brockton.
and had to be rushed to the emergency
Oh my
room.
God.
So they were students, and we just had a conversation about this on a conference call yesterday morning. They were students in a K through 8 school, but when it was on the news, they said middle school. So that they were 10 and 11 years old. My grandson is 11 years old. He's in 6th grade. So it didn't say that they were in a K to 8 school. It said they were middle school students. And I don't know where they got it, but they were drinking it. And they're only small. They're not much bigger than the one I passed around, this one. But there's a lot in here. If you spilled this on yourself and didn't make some super effort to get to clean it, this would burn you. And they drank it on the school bus on the way to school, and the 3 of them ended up in the emergency room with nicotine poisoning. So,
That's really not even as unique of a
story.
story as you'd think. Since the e-juices have become more and more popular, poison control centers all over the country have seen a spike in calls from toddlers getting the caps off and downing them and getting nicotine poisoning. Same thing, just at home instead of the school bus.
Yeah, we've had one death that we're aware of, 3-year-old little girl. They drank it, and by the time they got her to the hospital, it was too late.
All right, so I have two more questions. One, what does nicotine poisoning look like in a child? Like, what are the symptoms? And two, what's the most popular product on this table that you feel is in the market to kids?
Nicotine poisoning looks just like any other kind of chemical poisoning. So, vomiting, lethargic behavior. So you'd have to be paying attention. I would imagine flu-like symptoms. When you see somebody with alcohol poisoning, it's the same type of chemical poisoning. You get a bottle of aspirin. And the most popular product, I would say, I can tell you the most popular for my kids who do sales, when we go out looking for sales, Game 2-packs. These are cognac flavored cigars. There's 2 in a package and 99 cents for 2. Game does mostly 2-packs. They used to do the singles, but now so many communities are doing the cigar packaging piece where you can't buy a single, even if the store carries the single at 69 cents. With the regulation, they have to charge $2.50 for it. So they stopped carrying. A lot of communities they've stopped carrying singles altogether. The 2-packs for 99 cents are huge because they come in all different flavors. But now we're getting different companies, like these Rock and Roll, are the same exact thing. These are 4 for $1. So anything flavored, anything that's under $1. I mean, kids can get together. You get 4 kids together, I'm sure they can scrape up $1. And there are stores in every single community. I don't care where you live. There is nobody who is exempt from sales to minors. Every community, everywhere, has a store, and the kids all know it. And they might not sell to the kids I send in because they don't know them, because we can't send kids into stores where people will recognize them. You don't want to send a kid in where it's going to be a target. But they know your neighborhood convenience store. If you frequent that store, they know who you are, they know who your partner is, they know that you work, they watched your kids grow up, and they have no problem selling any of this crap to your kids. And we can't catch them because they don't know our kids. And they only sell to the kids that they know. And I get complaints every week from parents. I know my kid bought there. Well, but I can't use your kid as a sting, even if you wanted me to. Even if you said to your kids, you're going to go with her and you're going to go in and buy this, whatever it is she tells you to buy. Because the parents know that they will sell to their children. Somerset Police a couple of years ago caught a kid in the parking lot of a store before school, high school, before school, rolling a joint in one of her blunt wraps. Blunt wraps are tobacco, they're like rolling papers made out of tobacco. This is one that's probably dried up. So they caught her rolling a joint. They asked her, she was only 17. They asked her if she bought it in the store. She said yes. They took her to the station. They called her parents. They had her parents come down, and her parents signed an agreement that they could use this girl to go back to that same store to see if they could get more buys. So she had the buy, and they had it documented from before school. Mom picked her up after school, took her back to the police station. They followed mom to the store. The kid went in and bought a different tobacco product after school, and then they had her go back at 6:30 at night and buy something else. And they had it all documented. And then we issued citations to the schools, to the store for selling to minors. It wasn't their first time, but we had 3 sales in that one day, and 3 different clerks in the same store. One of them was the owner. and the Board of Health took their license to sell tobacco.
So I'm feeling, I don't smoke, but, and I think of like, you know, like my kids, let's say, who don't smoke, but the novelty, I mean, I find that like, it's like there's a curiosity factor even as an adult, so I can't imagine. It's like, well, I don't like smoking, but maybe I would like one of these things because it wouldn't be like smoking, you know, like, and if kids start thinking that, I mean, it's just like so easy. It seems like the only thing that would really save that conversation is I think that when e-cigarettes first came out, and I knew adults that were doing it to quit smoking, is that maybe the risks weren't published at that time.
Oh, because nobody knew.
And so it was like they thought that they were doing something that was safe. It was getting them away from cigarettes. And, you know, I just wonder how many of our kids still think that these are...
Many.
Yeah, they think that's safe
Right.
as compared to cigarettes.
And you know, not even that, but they don't even associate them with cigarettes.
Right.
Because when we work with high school youth groups, 84 chapters, I'll say how many of you know somebody that uses an e-cigarette, and they might kind of look at me a little weird, and I'll be like, how many of you know somebody that uses a vape pen or vapes and their hands shoot up? They don't call them e-cigarettes. Like that's
Right,
like
right,
an old
and
person
vapes.
thing. I feel
Yeah.
old when I ask them if they use e-cigarettes, but they call, yeah, they're vapes, they're vape pens, they're hookah pens.
Right.
And so they don't, you know, they grew up knowing how dangerous cigarettes are. That's why the youth use of regular
Smoke
cigarettes has been
cigarettes.
going down, which is awesome. But e-cigarettes or vape pens, whatever they call them, they're totally not associated. So that's why they're picking them up and they're thinking they're safe. They're not safe.
We've had requests from community service agencies, community benefit agencies, asking if we had any printed material they could hand out to young mothers, because they, in their appointments, they've got first of all, the girls wear these things on a lanyard around their neck. It's always some way you can get your hands on it. And they've got these little babies and toddlers, and they're letting the kids play with them and suck on them like they're pacifiers. And when somebody says to them, you shouldn't let your kids do that, that's not, and they'll say, no, it's just flavor, there's nothing in here that's going to hurt him, and then you've got like toddlers addicted to nicotine, and they wonder why kids are all on ADHD medication because kids are freaking out on the nicotine. So, we use 16 and 17-year-old kids to make the buys for us. They're all trained on an online training program that was provided to us by the FDA. So if you have or know of 16 and 17-year-olds, mostly 16, I'd like to train them when they're 16 and then we can use them for a while. We're always looking for kids to work for us. If they work for my program, they get $12 an hour cash the day they work. But it's not a part-time job. They don't work every week. They don't work, sometimes not even more than one day a week, every couple of weeks. If they work for the FDA or for the Cape and Islands Tobacco Program, they have to invoice. So you get your check in the mail like in 4 or 5 weeks from the day you work. So,
What is your, again, Marilyn, what's your category?
tobacco control, my business concert.
Oh, no, I mean, this list of the towns?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I was wondering.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter my towns, because once they're trained, they're on a list, and any one of the inspectors in Massachusetts can call them. And the FDA is all over Massachusetts. We have 6 inspectors for the FDA. And even the ones that work through my program, the FDA inspectors, I don't know where they're going until they went already. They don't tell us.
And you work with the town health agents, is that right? Or,
Yep, I am a health agent in all those communities.
okay.
We never take the kids into stores where people know them. And if they happen to go into a store in a neighboring community and see someone they know or a relative or a police officer, they turn around and walk out. They don't make the attempt to buy, because we don't want to put them in a position where somebody's going to know it was them that made the sale. So that's all I have on products. Kathy can talk more about cessation and 84 chapters.
So my half of the presentation is a lot less fun than that half. I don't have any cool things to show you.
Sorry.
But so I'm going to talk to you a bit about kind of the cessation resources that are available to smokers in Massachusetts if they're interested in quitting. And there's a good amount out there. So first, I'll pass these around and you can take some. And these are all available for free on the Clearinghouse website to anyone. So I can give you the website if your business would like to put some of these out. So this little packet really says it all, and it's a great place to start for somebody who's looking to quit smoking. And so 1-800-QUIT-NOW is usually the first and like the most important resource that we love to promote. It's a free quit line, and it's telephone-based counseling. So how it would work is if you're a smoker, you would call 1-800-QUIT-NOW. They would do a quick intake with you about your health, your smoking habits, things like that, and then what your goals are. Not everybody who calls the quit line wants to quit necessarily. A lot of times, especially with smoke-free housing becoming so popular, we're seeing people that just want to cut down because they don't want to walk off the property at 1 a.m. to have their cigarette that they would normally have in their apartment. So they just want to get through the night without a cigarette, and the quit line can help you do that. And so they do a quick intake with you. You talk about what your goals are, and then they'll help you come up with some strategies for that. And then they'll call you back once a week and check in and say, how's it going? What can we do differently to help you be more successful? Things like that. The greatest thing about the quit line is that if you're medically eligible, which most people are, and they would go through that with you, you're eligible for up to 4 weeks of free nicotine patches, which is a great benefit. Nicotine patches can be cost prohibitive to some people. They're not crazy expensive, but they're not as affordable as they should be, really, over the counter. So through the quit line, you can get up to 4 weeks of free nicotine patches, which is awesome, and we love to promote that. It's available in like 96 different languages, I think, so English, Spanish, Portuguese, anything you can think of. If you have somebody who's looking to quit, they can speak to them. And so it's a great resource. It's free. It's really easy. You can talk to them kind of in the car on the way to work on Friday mornings or whenever works for your schedule. It's not like a group that you have to show up at 5:30 on a Thursday. And so it's just kind of accessible. Tied in with the quit line is QuitWorks, which is the same idea as the quit line. It just loops in your healthcare provider. So you could bring this brochure to your next doctor's appointment or just ask them about it. Many healthcare providers know about QuitWorks. And they would sign you up with QuitWorks electronically, whether online or through fax. And it would connect you with the quit line. The quit line would contact you instead of you calling them. And they would do the same kind of intake. You can get the 4 weeks of free nicotine patches through QuitWorks. And then after a few weeks, it sends reports back to your doctor directly. So the next time you go to an appointment, you have another person checking in and saying, how's it going? What can we do? I see that you're struggling with X, Y, or Z. And it kind of just loops in another line of defense to help you get through it or cut back, quit, whatever works. I also have a list of in-person cessation groups. We do find that cessation counseling combined with medicine, it gives you your highest chance to successfully quit smoking. There's some in Fall River, some in New Bedford. A cool thing that not a lot of people know about is the South Coast Health Van that goes around. They offer cessation on board, which is great. So if you ever see it parked outside, and they go to a lot of places. They're a great van, so they do cessation on board as well.
How can they do cessation? Like they park somewhere and you go in,
Yep.
you just get counseling at that
Yeah, so
point?
you could go on. I mean, you can go on for a variety of reasons. Even if you're going on for something else, you can say, well, I'm looking to quit smoking, and the nurses that are on board are trained cessation counselors. They went to a training, and so they can connect you with the resources. They can kind of
Okay, so they're sending them out into the community. They're not, I can't imagine having a visit with someone and having them resolve your problem with smoking cigarettes, because it takes a lot more than a visit.
right. Yeah.
Having been a 20-year smoker who quit
Oh, yeah,
years
yeah.
ago.
No, they're not claiming to solve it in one visit on the van. It's just the van is in a lot of places. They visit housing authorities,
Yep.
they visit work sites, things like that. And so when you're on there, they also are well versed in cessation and things like that. So those nurses are trained in that, and they can help you kind of make a plan, set a date, give you tips and tools and things like that.
You could get them to come here and have them available like on a lunch hour or a lunch hour.
Absolutely
staggered.
not. I've tried. That van is available to community resources, but to a small business with 75 people,
Oh, they wouldn't come?
Nope.
I thought that was what.
No, I've called them, they used to come here when we did blood drives through South Coast Hospitals Group, so we got the two things together. But they don't have the blood bank anymore, so we have to use American Red Cross for the blood drive, but they don't have the health van. Yeah, so, yeah, I've invited them to come park here and do the North End community. But that keeps falling through the cracks. I don't think it's gonna happen.
Yeah, I don't know much about their scheduling, I just know about their nurses. So then, the other benefit kind of that's available to people is the health insurances do offer more benefits than you'd think, especially Mass Health. People that have Mass Health have a lot of cessation benefits that they might not even know about. Almost all of the stop smoking medications, so your patch, your pill, your lozenge, things like that, Mass Health can get down to a $1 to $3 copay, which makes it really affordable, and that's a great service that not every health insurance offers, and Mass Health offers it for all the FDA-approved quit smoking medications. You can also, with Mass Health, go to one of these in-person counseling groups, and these can be a little pricey, and if it's in a medical setting, Mass Health will reimburse you, which is great. So if it's in health center, they have one in New Bedford, there's one at the health center downtown, and they would reimburse you for that cost, because it's in a medical setting, which is great. And then supposedly, it's how it's supposed to be that all insurances are supposed to cover at least one FDA-approved stop smoking medication, and we've heard anecdotally that some insurance companies are not so generous with that benefit that they're supposed to be giving. But the best way to find out, and we like to encourage, is to just call your health insurance company, say what cessation benefits are available to me, and ask them, is stop smoking medication covered by my plan? Are prescriptions covered? Are over-the-counter medicines covered? What is there a limit? Because Mass Health allows as many quit attempts as you want. Other insurances might say, yeah, you can 5 times or 3 times. So it's worth a call. And then I have a couple other postcards up here just to summarize the resources available. A couple of just informational ones. With medicine, you're 2 times as likely to quit for good. It gives you some examples of the medicine. And this one's really cool. It shows what happens to your body as soon as you stop smoking, which is a great thing, I think, especially for people who are trying to quit, because it's such a hard thing. They literally have studies out that say it's harder to quit smoking than it is to quit heroin. They've tested and tried that. And so when you might not feel the benefits immediately, and I'm sure that would be frustrating, but this little postcard kind of tells you what's happening inside, even if you don't feel it right away. Within 20 minutes after your last cigarette, your blood pressure goes almost completely back to normal. 12 to 24 hours, the carbon monoxide in your blood has completely left your system. 24 hours, your chance of a heart attack decreases, and then it goes down the line. 2 weeks after your lungs are already healing. 5 years, your risk of heart disease is that of a non-smoker. So it's just kind of a cool, tangible benefit that even if you can't feel your blood pressure going, that's not like a visible thing. It's happening as soon as you have your last cigarette. So please take some of these. I can pass them around if you guys want to grab some. And like I said, if your business is interested in putting any of these out, I can give you some now, or they're available for free on the clearinghouse, and I have the website information for you there, because these are great things to just put out in the break room or whatever. Does anybody have any questions here?
So, just in driving by gas stations and convenience stores, it looks like cigarettes are up to almost $10 a pack.
Yeah.
Has that helped decrease the amount of smokers?
Yes, it's actually the most effective way to get people to quit smoking is price increases. And I don't know the exact numbers, but it's something like for every $1 the price increases like 30%. I'm sure you could Google it and find out, but it is a really effective way, because you're right, it's almost like too expensive to keep up that habit now.
Yeah.
And the other end of that is that we've had smokers tell us, I put all the money I was spending on cigarettes in a jar after I quit, and at the end of the year, some people can literally buy themselves a car, depending on how much they smoke, or a vacation, or whatever. And so that's another great tool, kind of to think of it from the price aspect, and to think, if you smoke a pack a day, that's $10 a day, let's say. If I save $10 a day for 6 months, that's a lot of money at the end of that. you know, you can go to the Bahamas that night, so.
So are you finding people shift to this as a cheaper alternative to get their nicotine delivery? Like, have there been any numbers or
I
anything?
don't know what the numbers are, but we've seen there has been a spike in
Like this?
yeah, e-cigarette use. Because if any ads you see, they talk about them as a safe alternative, and that's not the case. This is not the case. So one of the other things that happens all the time is that we'll do these presentations and parents will be upset about the store, you know, they put all the blame for tobacco sales or tobacco use on the store owners. And I can tell you that even though we have high rates of sales, the average store owner, depending on the volume of tobacco they sell, the average store owner only makes about 50 or 60 cents on a pack of cigarettes. So if you're spending $10 on a pack of cigarettes, you figure half of that, or a little less than half of that, goes to tax, state and federal taxes. So if $3.50 out of a $10 pack of cigarettes goes to state and federal taxes, the store owner gets 50 or 60 cents. And all the rest of that money goes to the tobacco manufacturer. So the tobacco industry is making at least half of whatever the cost of your cigarettes are. And their goal is to make sure people continue to smoke. So the reason a lot of these alternative products are skyrocketing in use and in sales is because the tobacco industry can no longer make flavored cigarettes. And Camel was the biggest manufacturer of flavored cigarettes. The FDA told them several, I think it was like 2008 or 9, they couldn't make any more flavored cigarettes. They didn't say they couldn't make any more flavored tobacco products. And we had all these e-cigarettes on the market. So Philip Morris, I.J. Reynolds, and Lorillard have bought up the majority of the e-cigarette companies so they can stay in the flavor market. And they need to stay in the flavor market to keep kids addicted because kids know that you're not supposed to smoke cigarettes. It's bad for you. But how bad can candy apple e-cigarettes be? Because they don't even taste like cigarettes. They taste like candy.
Candy's bad for you too.
Yeah. When they come around to the, you know, you can't sell M&Ms at CVS, I'll be right there. But tobacco is the only legal product in the world that when used as directed kills people. It's just as simple as that. And every meeting we attend, that comes up at some point. Used as directed, tobacco will kill.
For those of you who might not have heard me, these little cards I just passed around with a clearinghouse, and that's where all these materials are available for free. And you can just order them and ship them to you for free.
Awesome, thank you.
Is there anyone besides the South Coast Health Band that actually will come out to a work site and do smoking cessation programs? American Red Cross, American Cancer Society used to have a program, and they had facilitators throughout, you know, the community that would come out and do that.
Angie's trained.
Angie's a trained cessation person, so is Jack Shipley, who works for Partners. And you can get a list, Angie can give you a list of the trained cessation people in the area.
You could also call the New Bedford Health Center, and they might be able to help. They have on-site cessation counseling there, but I don't know if they ever do
Right,
out in the
go out,
community.
yes.
But you could ask.
My employees are here 10.5 hours a day,
Yeah.
and for them to go
Oh,
off
yeah,
somewhere
sure.
else.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think she's offered.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
If she can't do it, she'll find somebody. And they can do it during lunch, and brown bag it.
You know, our health insurance pays for patches and all of that, support, and we'll give them the time if they're interested in putting. It's It's just I really need a facilitator to come in and do the program.
Yeah, I would speak to Angie, because I know that she's done that for, she's arranged it for other work sites.
So Marilyn,
Yes.
so that we don't walk out of here feeling like, jeez. Do you have any, like, anything, like, call to action, anything that we can do to, I mean, you know, to help
Well,
get these things?
we can't lobby because we're under DPH contracts. But you can. So you can call your legislators, you can call your
Are there any,
health,
are there
you can call
any
your
current
city
bills that
council.
are in the house or that, you
There
know,
are.
can be, okay?
There are. I don't know the number. It's Representative Lewis
Is the sponsor?
is the
Yes.
sponsor. And that's the bill that's gonna bring the whole state to 21.
Okay,
But if you call, who's your
Strauss is mine,
rep or senator?
Bill Strauss, yeah.
Call his office, they'll know.
On a local level, you could call your Board of Health, like Marilyn said. If you live in New Bedford, you can call your Board of Health and ask them to think about upgrading their tobacco regulations.
She's laughing, so you know what we go through with this New Bedford
That would be a
Board of
great
Health.
help. So, yeah.
But yeah, you can always call your legislators. You can host meetings at your workplace. We'll come out and do the same thing, talk about the dangers. We take kids twice a year to the State House, well, once to the State House and once to
Yeah.
Worcester.
Yeah, if you all know of any youth groups, it can be a school-based youth group, a church-based youth group, any youth group with an adult advisor that would be interested in becoming an 84 chapter, which is, the name comes from when the movement started, 84% of high school youth in Massachusetts did not smoke. Now it's up to 89%, which is awesome. And the kids just work kind of with their peers on educating each other about the dangers, and then twice a year they do statewide events, like Marilyn said. They go to Worcester one day with all the other youth, kind of get pumped up for the year, learn a lot about the issues, and then in March, just a couple weeks ago, they went to the State House and talked one-on-one with their local legislators, which was really great, about these
Yeah,
problems.
we had almost 400 kids at the State House from all across Massachusetts that belong to the 84 movement. And they get T-shirts and they march on the Common and they chant and then when they're trained to speak to their legislators about what happens in their community. Or, you know, what are the tobacco issues in their high school? What are the tobacco issues with their friends? E-cigarettes, how dangerous they are. Because a lot of them don't know. And if you don't smoke, you don't know.
Right.
If you don't smoke and you go into your local convenience store, and I'm not a convenience store person. Like I don't go, I might stop at my local Cumberland Farms on the way home for milk, but I'm not walking with my grandkids to the local convenience store. All this is behind the counter. We've had parents at meetings say that their kids were like yelling, they want this, they want that, it's watermelon, blah, blah. And they've said, you know, okay, thinking they're fruit roll-ups.
Oh, my.
And the store clerk said to them, hey lady, this is not candy, this is tobacco. But you don't see it. You may know that it's all back there, but you don't know what half of it is or what it's used for. But the kids do. They know more about it than we do.
Any other questions?
So
That was an eye-opener.
the youth groups would just contact or look up 84 chapter?
Yeah,
or do
I'll
you have a
give you,
contact?
they can contact me or, yeah, the 84.org is the website and they can sign up right online there. Here, I'll pass these around with
These
you.
kids.
And so, yeah, you can just go right online and if you just want to learn more about the 84, it's the 84.org, the number 84.
Yes, thank you.
I have probably more in my bag if you play around. And so, yeah, they could contact me or just go right on the website and sign up themselves. And I think the limit is like you need 3 or 4 kids and an adult advisor to become a chapter.
Thank you, Kathy.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And thank you, Claudia, who disagreed.
Well,
Um,